Hi, I'm Lou Grill. I'm a professional driver and trainer. I'll be your instructor today. My goal is to help you prepare for the CDL General Knowledge Test. All applicants for any type of CDL must take the General Knowledge Test, the safe driving written test of the CDL. Welcome to the video review of the CDL General Knowledge Test. You have made a good decision in choosing this video for your study. It's a good choice because it covers the test every driver must pass to get a CDL. If you drive any truck or bus classed under the rules as a commercial motor vehicle, you must take the test. This includes a school bus, coach, or transit bus, any bus carrying the prescribed number of passengers, straight trucks over 26,000 pounds, straight trucks with trailers weighing over 10,000 pounds, tractor, semi-trailers, doubles and triples, tankers. If you drive any commercial vehicle, the General Knowledge Test is for you. So is the video and the study book to be used with it. The video can be used with the study book, or it can stand alone. One benefit of using the study book is that you can review everything covered in the video, plus receive help in answering 100 questions that may be asked on your state's test. And chances are your state will only ask 30 to 50 questions, but why not study them all? Plus, this gives you a good review of all the safe driving practices important to you. Now, here are some review strategies for using the video most effectively. 1. View the video part by part. The video is divided into parts to help you do this. Don't try to cover too much in one session. 2. Work along with me. 3. Read each question and its 3 answer choices carefully. 4. Stop your VCR and try to answer the question yourself first before you let me answer it. 5. At the end of each part, stop the video and review in your study book the questions covered. It contains more review questions to study. Before we start, let's review what we are trying to do. The purpose of the video and the study book is to improve your preparation for passing the test. To do this, we will be reviewing 36 safety concepts and a practice test question about each one of them. For more preparation, follow along with the study book and its illustrated review of 100 test questions. You'll benefit and I'll achieve my goal. Let's get started with part 1. Here are the concepts we'll cover. They are arranged in the same order in your study book. Here is the first question. It's about accident control. Which of these is not a good rule to follow when caring for an injured person at an accident scene? This is a not question, so you need to select the answer that is not a good rule. A, if a qualified person is helping them, stay out of the way unless asked to assist. B, keep injured persons cool. C, move severely injured persons if there is danger due to fire or passing traffic. Which answer do you think is best? Answer B says to keep the injured person cool. This is not a good rule because an injured person should be kept warm. Therefore, you should select answer B. Our next question is about alcohol, the drinking kind. Which of these statements about drinking alcohol is true? A, a few beers have the same effect on driving as a few shots of whiskey or a few glasses of wine. B, coffee and fresh air will help a drinker sober up. C, not everyone who drinks is affected by alcohol. Which is the true statement? Answer A is best. Now remember, a few beers are the same as a few shots of whiskey or a few glasses of wine. Also, only time will sober up a drinker, not coffee and fresh air. And everyone who drinks is affected by alcohol. 3 more alcohol and drug questions are found in your study book. Make sure you review them. Now, here's a question on backing. Which of these statements about backing a heavy vehicle is true? Notice the 2 key words, backing and true. A, you should avoid backing whenever you can. B, helpers should be out of the driver's sight and use only voice, spoken signals to communicate with the driver. C, it is safer to back toward the right side of the vehicle than toward the driver's side. Which statement is true? Answer A is best, and here's why. Because a driver cannot see everything behind the vehicle, backing is always dangerous. Avoid backing whenever you can. When you park, try to park so you'll be able to drive forward when you leave. Use a helper when you can. There are blind spots that you can't see. A helper is important to aid in seeing all areas. The helper should stay in sight by standing on your sight side. Because you may find it hard to hear the helper's voice, hand signals should be used. Here's a question on braking, asking which statement is true. A, brakes have more stopping power when they get very hot. B, brake drums cool very quickly when the vehicle is moving very fast. C, the heavier a vehicle or the faster it is moving, the more heat the brakes have to absorb to stop it. Answer C is true. When you use the brakes, they get hot. Brakes can take a lot of heat, but they will stop working if there is too much heat. This is caused by trying to slow down from too high a speed too many times or too quickly. Brakes will fade when they get too hot, and they can fade so badly that they will not slow your vehicle down. Here's a question about cargo. Just like braking, this CDL test should ask several questions about cargo and its loading. In fact, your study book will have 6 questions on braking and 9 on cargo. And make sure you review these questions. They're an important part of your test. Cargo inspections, A, are most often not the responsibility of the driver. B, should be performed after every break you take while driving. C, are only needed if hazardous materials are being hauled. Again, you are looking for the statement which is best. Have you selected it? A cargo check should be part of your pre-trip inspection. Then inspect the cargo and its securing devices again within 25 miles of the beginning of the trip. Make any adjustments that are needed. Check the cargo and securing devices as often as necessary during the trip to keep the load secure. Inspect again after you have driven for 3 hours or 150 miles. After every break you take during driving. Therefore, answer B is the correct choice. Besides inspections, your CDL test may have cargo questions about weight limits, cargo covers, tie downs, balancing your load, unstable loads, the center of gravity of a load, and weight on the steering axle. Likewise, there could be as many as 9 questions dealing with vehicle or traffic emergencies. Here's one of them. You are driving in the right lane of a 4-lane undivided road. You come over a hill and find a car stopped ahead in your lane. You do not have room to stop, and the hill blocks your view to the rear. The shoulder is clear. Which of these is most likely the best action to take? A, steer into the left lane. B, steer to the right. Or C, use hard braking and brace for a collision. In this situation, you do not have room to stop. When you do not have room to stop, you may have to steer away from what is ahead. Remember, you can almost always turn quicker than you can stop. Use care, however. Answer B is best. Since the shoulder of the road is clear, steering to the right may be the best thing to do. No one is likely to be driving on the shoulder, but someone may be passing you on the left. This ends part 1. Part 2 covers escape ramps, extreme driving conditions, fires and firefighting, hazardous materials, hazard recognition, inspections. Let's go to an easy question about escape ramps. Escape ramps are A, used to stop runaway vehicles, B, for tankers only, C, for combination vehicles only. Escape ramps are used to stop runaway vehicles. They're for all vehicles, not just tankers or combination rigs. Answer A is correct. Know where the escape ramps are on your route. Signs show drivers where ramps are located. Escape ramps save lives, equipment, and cargo. Use them if you lose your brakes. Our next question deals with extreme driving conditions. Driving in areas of high wind, extreme cold, heat through deep water, and ice buildup. You should avoid driving through deep puddles or flowing water. But if you must, which of these steps can help keep your brakes working? A, driving through quickly. B, gently putting on the brakes while driving through the water. C, applying hard pressure on both the brake pedal and accelerator after coming out of the water. You're on the right track if you selected answer B. Avoid driving through deep puddles or flowing water if possible. And if you can't avoid it, you should slow down, place the transmission in a low gear, gently put on the brakes. This presses the linings against the brake drums or discs and keeps mud, silt, sand, and water from getting inside. When you are out of the water, maintain light pressure on the brakes for a short distance to heat them up just a little and dry them out. Make a test stop when it's safe to do so. You'll be asked a question or two about fires and firefighting. For example, you can use water to put out which fires? A, gasoline fires. B, electrical fires. C, tire fires. Answer C is the best choice. A burning tire must be cooled. Lots of water may be needed to cool it. Water can be used on wood, paper, or cloth. But do not use water on an electrical fire. You can get shocked. Water on a gasoline fire would just spread the flames. We go to a hazardous materials question next. You do not have a hazardous materials endorsement on your commercial driver's license. You're asked to deliver hazardous materials in a placarded vehicle. You should A, refuse to haul the load, B, take the placards off the vehicle, C, haul the load, but only to the nearest place where a driver with a hazardous materials endorsement can take over. Answer A is correct. If you do not have a hazardous materials endorsement on your CDL and refuse to haul the load, to ensure safety to drivers and equipment, the rules say that all drivers of placarded trucks must learn how to safely load and transport hazardous products. They must have a CDL with the hazardous materials endorsement. Now, let's review a question on hazard recognition. That's a couple of big words. They mean being on the lookout for danger. The most important reason for being alert to hazard is so A, accident reports will be accurate. B, law enforcement personnel can be called. C, you will have time to plan your escape if the hazard becomes an emergency. You look for hazards or danger in order to have time to plan a way out and to make your move. Remember the rules of defensive driving. See the danger, plan your defense, act in time. The question or the test may have questions on inspections. Let's review one of them. You are checking your wheels and rims for a pre-trip inspection. Which of these statements is true? A, rust around wheel nuts may mean that they are loose. B, cracked wheels or rims may be used if they have been welded. C, a vehicle can be safely driven with one missing lug nut on a wheel. Answer A is true. Wheel nuts may be loose if there is rust around them. Do not use cracked wheels or rims, even if they have been welded. Also, do not drive a vehicle if any wheel has a missing lug nut. This ends part 2 of the video. Now, let's review some questions about lights, marking a stopped vehicle, mirror use, night driving, parking, and ramps. What about the safe and legal use of your headlamps? High beams should be A, used when it is safe to do so, B, turned on when an oncoming driver does not dim his or her lights, C, dimmed at the time that you get within 100 feet of another vehicle. Which answer is best? Answer A is the best answer and an important safety rule. Use high beams when you can. Many drivers make the mistake of always using their low beams, and this seriously cuts down on how far the driver can see ahead. Use high beams when it is safe and legal to do so, but don't use them when you are within 500 feet of another vehicle. This brings us to marking a stopped vehicle. Again, the question involves selecting a true statement. The trouble is, this question has 2 answers that you may think are true. So read it carefully and select the best answer from the 2. Which statement is true? A, if a hill or curve keeps you from seeing the vehicle from 500 feet away, the rear reflective triangle should be moved back down the road to give adequate warning. B, you do not need to put out reflective triangles unless the vehicle will be stopped for 30 minutes or more. C, the vehicle's taillights should be kept on to warn other drivers. If you apply the true or false rule to each statement, both answer A and C may end up true. So you must select the best choice of the two. Answer A is the best choice. A hill may prevent others from seeing the vehicle. You should place your warning devices beyond a hill, curve, or anything that prevents other drivers within 500 feet of the vehicle from seeing it. Be sure oncoming drivers are given plenty of warning that there is a stopped vehicle ahead. Which of these is a good thing to remember about using mirrors? A, you should look at a mirror for several seconds at a time. B, convex mirrors make things look larger and closer than they really are. C, there are blind spots your mirror cannot show you. Answer C is correct. You cannot see everything in your mirror, and where you cannot see is called a blind spot. It is important to remember this and allow for it. Always make quick checks. Do not focus on the mirror for too long. A 2-second look may be too long. At 2 seconds, at 50 miles per hour, you'll travel 150 feet or more. And this is quite a distance to go without knowing what's up ahead there and what's happening. Get into the habit of looking back and forth between the mirrors and seeing the road out ahead. Be careful when using convex, fisheye, spot, or bug eye mirrors. Everything appears smaller in a convex mirror than it does if you were looking at it directly. Things also seem farther away than they really are. But how about at night? Which of these is a good thing to do when driving at night? A, keep your speed slow enough that you can stop within the range of your headlights. B, look directly at oncoming headlights only briefly. C, keep your instrument lights bright. Answer A is not only the best choice, best answer, but it's a high priority safety rule. Driving at night is more dangerous than driving in the daytime. More than half of all traffic accidents happen at night. The drivers do not see the hazards as soon as they do in the daylight. They have less time to act. Drivers caught by surprise are less able to avoid a crash. And drivers who overdrive their headlights are more apt to be caught by surprise. You can also be surprised by unsafe parking. Every time you leave your vehicle, you should A, turn the steering wheel as far to the left as you can. B, apply the brake. C, leave it in gear if it has a manual transmission. Answer B is the best choice, and it's an important safety rule. Never leave your vehicle unattended without putting on the parking brakes or chalking the wheels. Your vehicle may roll away and cause injury and damage. Now, here's a ramp question. You are driving a heavy vehicle. You must exit a highway using an off-ramp that curves downhill. And you should A, slow down to a safe speed before the curb. B, slow to the posted speed limit for the off-ramp. C, wait until you are in the curve before downshifting. Answer A is the best answer and safest rule to follow. Slow to a safe speed before you enter an off-ramp, especially one that curves downhill. Braking in the curve is dangerous because it makes it easier to lock the wheels and then go into a skid. Be careful with posted speed limits for off-ramps. These speed limits apply more to cars and small vehicles than to big rigs. Rollovers happen when you turn too fast. Slow down for the off-ramps. Avoid quick lane changes in direction, especially when the vehicle is fully loaded. Fully loaded rigs are 10 times more likely to roll over in a crash than empty ones. This concludes Part 3. Part 4 is a review of retarders, seat belts, seeing ahead, shifting, signaling, skid control. Retarders. A. Cause extra brake wear. B. Allow you to disconnect the steering axle brakes. C. Can cause the drive wheels to skid when they have poor traction. Did you select answer C? It's the best choice and a very important safety factor. When your drive wheels have poor traction, the retarders may cause them to skid. Turn off the retarders when the road is wet, icy, or snow-covered. Some vehicles have retarders. Retarders help slow a vehicle, reducing the need to use the brakes. And they reduce brake wear and give you another way to slow down. There are many types of retarders: exhaust, engine, hydraulic, or electric. All retarders can be turned on or off by the driver. On some vehicles, the retarding power can be adjusted. When turned on, retarders apply their braking power to the drive wheels only when you let up all the way on the gas or fuel pedal. When should you wear seat belts? A. Anytime you are in a moving vehicle. B. Only in states where it is required by law. Or C. Only when engaged in interstate commerce. If you did not select answer A, you missed the number one rule. And the number one rule of driver safety is to buckle up. Wear your seatbelt anytime you're in a moving vehicle. Safety demands it. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations, or FMCSR, require it. Your company probably has a seatbelt policy emphasizing seatbelt use. Many states also demand that you use seatbelts at all times. This leads us to another set of safe driving practices. They are your visual habits. How far should a driver look ahead of the vehicle while driving? A. 1 to 2 seconds. B. 5 to 8 seconds. Or C. 12 to 15 seconds. All drivers look ahead, but many do not look that far or far enough ahead. That's why answer C is best. Most good drivers look 12 to 15 seconds ahead. That means looking ahead the distance you'll travel in 12 to 15 seconds. At lower speeds, that's about 1 block. And at highway speeds, it's about a quarter of a mile. If you're not looking that far ahead, you may have to stop too quickly or make quick lane changes. You must also look at things that are closer. And good drivers shift their attention back and forth from near to far. Now, let's go from shifting your eyes to shifting gears. You are driving a new truck with a manual transmission. What gear will you probably have to use to take a long, steep downhill grade? A, the same gear you would use to climb the hill. B, a lower gear than you would use to climb the hill. C, a higher gear than you would use to climb the hill. The key to this question is the age of the truck you're driving. The question says you're driving a new truck. Answer B, of course, is the best choice. Now, let me explain why. With older trucks, the rule for choosing gears is to use the same gear going down the hill that you need to climb the hill. But today, new trucks have low friction parts and streamlined aerodynamic shapes for fuel economy. They may also have more powerful engines, and this means that they can go up hills in higher gears as well as have less friction and air drag to hold them back when going down hills. For that reason, drivers of modern trucks may have to use lower gears going down a hill than they will need to go up the hill. Find out what is right for your vehicle. Now, let's review a question on signaling. Which of these statements about using your turn signals is true? A, you do not need to use your turn signal when changing lanes in traffic on a 4-lane highway. B, when turning, you should signal early. C, you should use your turn signal to mark your vehicle when it is pulled off the side of the road. Answer B is true. Signaling early is one of 3 good rules for using turn signals. The 3 good rules for using turn signals are: signal early, signal for some time before you turn. It is the best way to keep others from trying to pass you when it's not safe. Signal continuously. Do not cancel the signal until you have completed the turn. Cancel your signal after you have turned. Turn off your signal if you do not have self-canceling signals. One of the more difficult set of questions on the test is going to deal with skidding and skid control. We could use a video all by itself on this subject, so we remind you to use your study book so you can take your time and carefully go over the 4 questions explained there. And there are good pictures to help you along. Here's an easy question about skids in general. The most common cause of serious vehicle skids is A, driving too fast for road conditions, B, poorly adjusted brakes, C, bad tires, moving along too fast. Answer A is the correct choice. Most serious skids result from driving too fast for road conditions. This ends part 4. Part 5 reviews questions on slippery roads, slow-moving vehicles, space management, speed management, starting and accelerating, staying alert. The first review question of Part 5 starts with a slippery road situation called hydroplaning. What should you do when your vehicle hydroplanes? A, accelerate slightly. B, countersteer hard. C, release the accelerator. You should select answer C, release the accelerator. In some types of weather, water or slush collects on the road. When this happens, a vehicle can hydroplane. This is like water skiing. The tires lose their contact with the road and have little or no traction. You may not be able to steer or brake. Here's the situation for the next question. You see a marking on a vehicle ahead of you. The marking is a red triangle with an orange center. What does the marking mean? A, it may be a slow-moving vehicle. B, the vehicle is hauling hazardous materials. C, it is a law enforcement vehicle. If you selected answer A, you're correct again. The red triangle with an orange center is a slow-moving vehicle symbol. Watch for it. Motorists who do not drive at normal speeds are hazardous. Seeing slow-moving vehicles early can prevent a crash. Some vehicles, by their nature, are slow, and seeing them is a clue that they're hazardous, like mopeds, farm machinery, construction machinery, tractors, even the horse-drawn buggies that you see in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Some of these will have a slow-moving vehicle symbol to warn you. Now, others may not have such a symbol. Now, here's a question on space management. It is about your safe following distance. You're driving a 40-foot vehicle at 50 miles per hour. Driving conditions are ideal, dry pavement and good visibility. What is the least amount of space you should keep in front of your vehicle to be safe? A, 3 seconds, B, 4 seconds, or C, 5 seconds? Answering safe following distances, the questions, they involve a safety rule. Under ideal conditions, safety rules say to keep 1 second of space for each 10 feet of vehicle length at speeds below 40 miles per hour. At greater speeds, you must add 1 more second for safety. Therefore, answer C is correct. When driving over 40 miles per hour, as in the question, you will need 5 seconds of space for a 40-foot vehicle. If your vehicle was 60 feet long, you would need 7 seconds of space. Now we have a speed management question for you. Which of these statements about speed management is true? A, empty trucks always stop in a shorter distance than fully loaded ones. B, when you double your speed, go twice as fast, it will take twice the distance to stop. C, you should choose a speed that lets you stop within the distance you can see ahead. Answer C is best because it is true. You should always be able to stop within the distance that you can see ahead. At night, low beams, you can see only about 250 feet ahead. You should not drive more than 40 miles per hour with the low beams on. During the day, conditions such as fog and rain may require you to drive more slowly, so you will be able to stop in the distance that you can see ahead. Here's a question about starting and accelerating that I'm sure you've faced many times. You are driving a heavy vehicle with a manual transmission. You have to stop the vehicle on the shoulder while driving an uphill grade. Which of these is a good rule to follow when putting it back in motion up the grade? A, keep the clutch slipping while slowly accelerating. B, use the parking brake to hold the vehicle until the clutch engages. Or C, let the vehicle roll straight backwards a few feet before you engage the clutch. Answer B is the best choice here. Put on the parking brake when you need to keep from rolling back. Release the parking brake only when you have applied enough engine power to keep from rolling back. If you roll back when you start, you may hit someone behind you. So partly engage the clutch before you take your right foot off the brake. Which of these statements about staying alert to drive is true? A half-hour break or coffee will do more to keep you alert than a half-hour nap. B, there are drugs that can overcome being tired. C, sleep is the only thing that can overcome fatigue. Answer C is the best choice here. Sleep is the only thing that can overcome fatigue. Fatigue, being tired or sleepy, and not being alert are bigger problems at night. The body naturally wants to sleep. This is beyond a person's control. Most people are less alert at night, especially after midnight. Drivers may not see hazards as soon or react as quickly, so the chance of a crash is greater. If you're sleepy, the only safe cure is to get off the road and get some sleep. If you don't, you risk your life and the lives of others. There are no drugs that can overcome being tired. They may keep you awake for a little while, but they won't make you alert. A nap as short as a half hour will do more to overcome fatigue than a half-hour coffee stop. This completes Part 5. Part 6 is our last set of review questions in this video. And we will cover steering, stopping distance, tires, traction, turning, work zones. This review question is about emergency steering. The technique is called counter steering. What is counter steering? A, steering in the opposite direction from what other drivers expect you to do. B, using the steering axle brakes to prevent oversteering. C, turning the wheel back in the other direction after steering to avoid a traffic emergency. Answer C describes counter steering. In an emergency, such as avoiding an obstacle in the road ahead, you must be prepared to counter steer. You steer around the object and then turn the steering wheel back in the opposite direction as soon as you have passed whatever it was that was in your path. You are driving a vehicle at 55 miles per hour on dry pavement. About how much total stopping distance will you need to bring it to a stop? A, twice the length of the vehicle. B, half the length of a football field. C, the length of a football field. Answer C is the best estimate. Stopping distance may range from about 300 feet to over 400 feet. At 55 miles per hour, you'll need about the length of a football field or more to stop. A football field is 120 yards or 360 feet. A truck or bus needs more than 180 feet to stop at 55 miles per hour. Which of these statements about tires in hot weather driving is true? A, the air pressure of a tire decreases as the temperature of the tire increases. B, if a tire is too hot to touch, you should drive on it to cool it off. C, you should inspect your tires every 2 hours or every 100 miles when driving in very hot weather. Answer C is the best choice here. Check the tire mountings and air pressure. Inspect the tires every 2 hours or every 100 miles when driving in very hot weather. The air pressure increases with the temperature. Do not let air out because the pressure then will be too low when the tires cool off. If you don't check the tires that often, a tire may blow out or catch fire. So pay special attention to recapped or retreaded tires. Under high temperatures, the tread may separate from the body of the tire. A vehicle is loaded with very little weight on the drive axle. What may result? A, poor traction. B, damage to drive axle tires. C, better handling. Answer A is correct. Poor weight balance can make vehicle handling unsafe. Too much weight on the steering axle can cause hard steering. Too much weight can also cause damage to the steering axle and to the tires. Underloaded front axles caused by shifting weight or too far to the rear can make the steering axle weight too light to steer the vehicle safely. So, too little weight on driving axles can cause poor traction. The drive wheels may spin easily. And during bad weather, the vehicle may not be able to keep going if the drive wheels spin easily. Now, let's review a turning question. You are driving a long vehicle that makes wide turns. You want to turn left from Pine Street onto Cedar Street. Both are two-lane, two-way streets. You should A, begin turning your vehicle as soon as you enter the intersection. B, begin turning your vehicle when you are halfway through the intersection. C, begin the turn with your vehicle in the left lane of Pine Street. Answer B is best. On this left turn, make sure you have reached the center of the intersection before starting your turn. If you turn too soon, the side of your vehicle, as it off tracks, may hit a vehicle on Cedar Street, waiting to enter the intersection. Our last question is about work zones. When driving through work zones, you should A, turn on your flashers and drive slowly. B, use your brake lights to warn drivers behind you. C, do both of the above. Since both answers A and B are true, and answer C is the best choice. Well, how did you do? When people are working on the road, this is a hazard. There may be narrow lanes, sharp turns, or uneven surfaces. Other drivers are often distracted and they don't drive safely. Workers in construction vehicles, they can get in the way. Drive slowly and with care near the work zones. Use your four-way flashers or brake lights to warn drivers behind you. Well, we've come to the end of the review of the CDL General Knowledge Test. I hope you have found this video to be helpful. Remember, your test study book will contain all the questions we've reviewed and more. Good luck with your CDL tests, and thanks for joining us.
I'm Ed Keniston, President of the Professional Truck Driver Institute of America. The Institute works to advance professionalism among the nation's truck and commercial vehicle drivers. This video is a good example of the special training required of professional drivers. If you are one of America's 6 million commercial drivers, we salute you and wish you success in your CDL preparation. We also salute the following individuals and organizations whose technical expertise and assistance made this video possible and who, like us, recognize the importance of our nation's commercial vehicle drivers.